What's up, everybody? This is Murdic3K, and today, as promised, we will be doing a follow-up to the first impressions video I did to these three smartwatches. We're not going to do a single video for each of them. We're just going to do them all in one, and I'll tell you what my, actually closer to 40 to 50 days, first 40 to 50 days with these watches was like. And yeah, let's get right into it. We're going to start with the watch that if I had to say my least favorite, we'll say it would be this one. This one, a lot of people had a lot of questions about because this is the one I think a lot of people saw on the social media ads. And it's not a bad watch. Again, I pay for these things with my own money, so I'm not going to pound it with a hammer or anything like that, but I did go about my daily routine with it, and it held up. Now, let's talk about the big con right off the bat. When I first got this watch, this power button does absolutely nothing. It's a useless button. The back button does everything, and it acts as the power button. If I want to turn the watch off, I just long press it, and it powers it off. If I want to wake it up, I just hit that. And if I'm like somewhere else in the watch interface, I hit that. It brings it back to the watch face. It's a one-stop, does all. This power button up top does absolutely nothing. It's a dummy button. And I hate that. That's a big con for me because it's like it's a useless feature. Why even have a button there if it's a dummy button? So that's a big con. So there you go. But we looked at the interface before in the first video. We're not going to do that again. If you want to see that, go right up there and it'll all be in there in its full glory. But the watch held up. I want to talk about that a little bit. Like, so far as water resistance and things of that nature, I went through my daily routine. I don't shower with a watch on, so why would I do it in a normal everyday living environment? What I do with this watch, however, when it was my time to have this watch on, if like I have small children, helping them bathe, I would easily get this thing submerged in the tub while washing the kids up, or washing dishes, or washing the car. Anything that has to do with water and light submersion and splashes, it held up wonderfully. I can't speak to swimming to the depths of the ocean because I haven't done that, nor do I intend to do that anytime soon. Let's see what else we can tell you. The band, it was comfortable. It held up. Nothing came loose with it. Like I have accidentally banged this thing on the counter a few times. It didn't crack or anything like that. So very happy. Now the blood oxygen saturation level, the pulse rate, those things actually seem to be fairly accurate. Now, the one thing that's not accurate at all on this, and it shouldn't even be a feature because it's not even close, is the blood pressure monitoring. It's almost, it might as well be a random number generator. I don't know if it's trying to calculate from other variables, but it's not even close. If you have blood pressure issues, do not rely on the blood pressure sensor monitor for your daily readings. Not accurate in the least. It's almost negligible for it to even be a feature on these watches. The thing is, any watch that's boasting blood pressure monitoring, don't go for it. The technology isn't there for blood pressure monitoring with just the simple wrist technology. Not to that extent. I've done the research on this. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I suffer from hypertension. I would have loved for this to have been true, and it just simply wasn't. The technology isn't there for this to be an accurate blood pressure monitoring device. Check with your doctor if you don't believe me. So there you go with that. So that's my thoughts with this watch. My least favorite watch, but you know what? If you end up with it, still you could do a lot worse. This is my middle ground watch, and while it's probably the most, let me power it on. It's probably my favorite watch visually. This is the watch that I would say is if I'm dressing up, if I want to get a little fancy, this would be the watch. This would not be my daily driver, even though it could be. Now I'm going to tell you guys, before we even get too far into this, Though this is the second one of these I bought. The reason being, I actually do like the watch. It's not that I don't like it. What happened was I was going through the counter, and like I've done with all the other watches you've seen here, I've bumped it on the counter. I have a granite countertop. Though the face cracked on the first one, and it cracked with a light tap. It wasn't hard at all. This is what, if you've seen the video, again, check it out. This video for this watch will be right up there. This is the one that I believe is the same watch as the Carbinox Spacecrafter, and I make my case for that when you watch the video right up there. The interface is the best interface out of them all, right? And I don't know if I've covered that. So what it does here, if you can see that, if it's not too blurry, you have the option of changing this. You can tap that, and it rotates around to where you are, and you just tap what you want to do. So if you want to play a game, for example, I hit that. It does that neat little animation. It spins around, gives you haptic feedback, and you just type the game, and you have the 2048 game or the Young Bird, which is the Floppy Bird game. You can back out of that. Let's see here. There you go. The buttons seem to have more function. And so this one goes to the previous. This one goes back to the home screen here. This is the power, how you power it down. You long press it, and it gives you the option of if you want to power it off or not. There you go. And so we're going to keep it on, though. So that's that watch. I have no complaints. This watch, let's go back to this one for a second. This one, you cannot do phone calls with. You can receive messages. You just swipe it up, and it gets the messages. This one, you can get messages. You can do phone calls. You can receive phone calls. You can listen to your music from this device if you so chose, if you, for whatever reason. You could even control your music output. Let's say you had your phone hooked up to a Bluetooth speaker and this. You could even cycle back and forth with your songs with this watch, and pause and play and all that. And I think you can even control the volume of your music output. The speaker's right here. The weird thing about it, when you're playing the speaker music, when it's on your wrist, it muffles it really easy. If your like wrist is flexed up just slightly and it covers that speaker, you will basically not even hear the music or anything. Phone calls the same way. You can take phone calls through this thing. You cannot send messages through it. You can only check them. You can't send messages. You can only check them. But you can make phone calls and take phone calls with the watch itself while it's linked through Bluetooth to your phone. No GPS function in the watch, so there it is. But the pedometer and the heart rate monitor and the blood oxygen saturation seem to be accurate as far as I can tell. Again, like the other watch, blood pressure monitoring is a no-go. So there you go with that one. Yeah, this is my second favorite one. I definitely rock it. Check that video up for this watch right up there as said before. Now, this is my favorite one, and it's not the most glamorous, but it has some neat watch faces, very much like the Spacecrafter we saw here. It's just a rugged watch. Now, this one fits my lifestyle better than the other two. With the Spacecrafter, when I'm equating to the Spacecrafter, I should say, with that having the face that cracked on the previous one so easily, I'm a little bit hesitant to get a rugged with it. This one, if I'm out doing rugged stuff, I don't know, like I like camping, so I would take this one camping. Wouldn't take the Spacecrafter. I like going to the firing range. This one I would take to the firing range because like this one was the one I had when I was at the firing range last. It handled the recoil of the firearm, and I shot various firearms with it. Not that you wouldn't think it'd have a lot to do with it, but some of the recoil from some of these things is quite robust, and it handled it wonderfully. Same thing when I was bathing the kids, washing dishes, washing car. If I submerge this in, like, let's say a bucket of water in the tub while I'm washing the kids up, it handled it wonderfully, no problems. The buttons all have their appropriate features and functions. Like the other one, you can take phone calls and you can make phone calls with this watch. Very good. The blood pressure monitoring, a no-go, pulse rate, pedometer, and blood oxygen levels, that seemed accurate as well. Let's see what else I can tell you about this watch. The buttons do what they do. They wake the thing up. They cycle through back and forth, up and down. You long press one. Yep. I wonder if you can long press both of them. So I long press up and okay, and the down one doesn't, but this is your power as well, so you can cycle one way, cycle the other with this one. I don't sleep with my watches on. I don't do that with any watch, but if you wanted to, I did it one night with each of them, and this is not the reading. This is, I think I had it on when I was just, I don't know, maybe I did fall asleep with this one on briefly, but if I've done it at least once with each of them. And far as I can tell, the sleep monitoring works. I personally believe that's more of a gimmick than anything. That's just me. For the detailed interface for this watch, as always, you can go back and watch that video right up there. And but this was my favorite one. This is the one I would say is my daily driver. This is the one, since all this stuff is done now, I've worn them to get a good opinion of them. This is the one that I will wear most often. If I have to get a little fancy, this will be one I rock there. And I don't know. I just don't think I'll be wearing this one much at all. It was the least glamorous. The display was, I don't know if it translates into the video, but the displays are even a little different in their crispness. Like this one is fairly crisp and clear. The spacecraft are fairly crisp and clear. This one, however, has a little bit of a fuzz to it, a little bit of a low resolution. So yeah, that's where we are with that, guys. I hope this has been helpful. That's the thing. That's why I do this. You guys, I make bad choices so you guys don't have to. Went through these watches, and at the end of the day, this is the one I rock with. But this one's a close second. Like I said, this is not a bad watch either. You just have to be this glass apparently may be very fragile. So that's it. Guys, thank you as always for watching. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. Keep on watching. Like and subscribe. Share every now and then. And live the dream.